Chapter 15 of The Plum in the Golden Vase, Chongzhen version of embroidered portraits. The beautiful lady laughs while admiring the lantern tower, and the client helps her at Li Chun Yuan. The poem says, "The upstairs is so beautiful, the windows are 3 to 5. They argued about visiting Chunmo and invited each other to open an embroidery account. It turns into a red robe and contains delicate green feathers. Liu Bin flicked the string at first, and then moved it when he wanted to. As time goes by, it is as early as the 15th day of the first lunar month. One day, Simon Kingshan sent Diane to deliver 4 plates of soup, a jar of wine, a plate of longevity peaches, a plate of longevity noodles, and a set of gold-woven heavy silk clothes, with Wu Yunyang's name written on them, for Li Ping'er's birthday. Li Ping'er just got up and dressed up, called Danner into the bedroom, and said, "I disturbed your aunt the day before yesterday, and today I taught your aunt to take the trouble to send gifts." Diane said, "Mother is overruling you, and father is overriding the 2 mothers. No more small gifts. I'll give them to my second mother to reward you." Li Ping'er ordered to greet the spring with 4 plates of tea and food tubes to wait for Dan. Before going out, he took 2 coins of silver and a glittering handkerchief. "When you get home, I'll send you a message to all the ladies in your family. I'll ask Lao Feng to invite you here. At any rate, we'll all come and go in person tomorrow." Diane kowtowed and went out, to box bearers and 100 pennies. Li Ping'er then asked Lao Feng to take 5 Cambodian invitations and invite Yun Yang, Li Jier, Meng Yulu, Sun Zui and Pan Jinlian on the 15th. He also sent another invitation to secretly invite Simon King to come that evening. Seats. Yun Yang arrived the next day, leaving Sun Zui to look after the house, and went out with 4 sedans, Li Jier, Meng Yulu, and Pan Jinlian. They were all dressed in colorful and embroidered clothes. For young servants, Lake Sing, Lion, Diane, and Huadong followed. Then, he came to Li Ping'er's newly bought house in Lion Street Light Market. The house has 4 rooms on the facade and 3 floors at the bottom. There is a building facing the street. There are wing rooms on both sides of the Yemen, with 3 guest rooms and 1 at the end. The passage leads through, and there are 3 bedrooms and a kitchen on the 3rd floor. The landing at the back is close to Kiao Huangkin's garden. Li Ping'er knew that Yun Yang and others were coming to see the lanterns. Tables and seats were set up on the upper floor facing the street, and many lanterns were hung. We are first welcomed into the guest seats, and the etiquette is completed. Then, we are led into the open room at the back to wait for tea. No need to elaborate. At noon, 4 tables were set up in the guest area, and 2 singers, Dong Jiar and Han Jin Shuo, were invited to play, sing and drink. A fine banquet was set up upstairs in front, and the Yun Yang people were invited to go upstairs to watch the lanterns and play. There are xiang curtains and lanterns hanging in front of the eaves. Wu Yunyang is wearing a bright red coat with full sleeves, a delicate green skirt, and a mink fur coat. Li Jier, Meng Yulu, and Pan Jinlian all wear white silk jackets and blue skirts. Li Jier is a golden jia with agarwood color all over the ground. Meng Yulu is a gold jia with green everywhere. And Pan Jinlian is red with gold jia all over, with a pile of pearls and emeralds on his head, and a half-undressed phoenix hairpin. They all sit down and watch from the windows of the building. The lantern market was crowded with people and very lively. Dozens of lantern stands were set up on the street, surrounded by various businesses. Men and women playing with lanterns, flowers and willows red, and cars and horses thundering. But see, 2 dragons play in the water through the rocks, and a single crane looks up to the sky reflected in the clouds. Jin screen lanterns and jade tire lanterns are covered with pearls. Lotus lanterns and hibiscus lanterns are scattered round thousands of beautiful things. The hydrangea lights are bright and clean, and the snowflake lights are fluttering. The scholar's lantern bows to give way to those who advance and stop, preserving the legacy of Confucius and Mencius. The daughter-in-law's lantern is gentle and gentle, imitating the integrity of Meng and Zhang. The monk Deng Yuming and Liu Chui are connected, and the judge Deng Zhonghui sits side by side with his little sister. The master lantern waved her feather fan to pretend to summon evil spirits. And the golden toad behind her bangs lantern swallowed the treasure. Camel lanterns and green lion lanterns carry priceless treasures. Ape lanterns and white elephant lanterns carry the secret treasures of Liancheng. A crab lantern with 7 arms and 8 legs plays with the clear waves, and a huge bearded catfish lantern swallows green algae. Silver moths compete for color, and snowy willows compete for glory. Fish, dragon and sand play, the 7 true masters and 5 elders presented alchemy books. Hanging tassels, 9 barbarians and 8 barbarians came to collect treasures. In the village, there are drums and drums, teams and teams are noisy. Performers of all kinds of opera are fighting for their skills. The rotating lamp comes and goes, and the chandelier rises or hangs down. The glass vase reflects beautiful women and strange flowers, and the mica barrier merges with Yingzhu Langyuan. The kings and grandsons competed to watch under the small fence, playing Qian. The ladies accompanied each other on the high building, showing off their beauty. The hexagrams and for hexagrams are gathered together, and the stars are reflected, tell how good fortune will be in the new year, and determine the prosperity and decline of the whole life. There was also Yang Gong, a poet and composer who was standing on the high slope talking. He came to see this wandering monk with a ringing cymbal, giving a lecture on the Tripitaka. Those selling Yuang Shao are piled high with fruit fillings, and those selling plum blossoms are piled with dead branches. Cut Chun, put it sideways on the temples to stir up the east wind, pray for Liang Chai, and the golden sun will fly above your head. The screen is painted with Shi Chong's brocade tent, and the bead curtain is painted with plum blossoms and the moon. Although you can't fully see the scenery of Aocean Mountain, you should have a prosperous and happy year. Yunyang took a look and saw that there was a commotion downstairs, so she and Li Jiar went back to the banquet to have a drink. Only Pan Jinlian and Meng Yulu, the 2 singers, just leaned against the window and looked down. Pan Jinlian hugged the sleeves of his white silk coat, revealing his gold-covered sleeves, revealing his 10 spring onion fingers. Wearing 6 gold stirrup rings, leaning half of his body, eating melon seeds in his mouth. The rinds of the melon seeds he ate were spitted out on people, and Yulu and I couldn't stop laughing. One time he pointed out, "Eldest sister, come and see. The 2 hydrangea lanterns hanging under the eaves of that house are rolling up and down. They are very beautiful." Another time he said, "Second sister, come and see. There is a big fish lantern on this pair of door shelves. And there are many small fish, turtles and crabs underneath. It's fun to follow him." He called again, "Third sister, look! This woman's lantern in this song, that old man's lamp." As he was looking at it, a gust of wind suddenly came and cut a big hole in the lower half of the old man's lamp. When the woman saw it, she couldn't stop laughing. She provoked the man watching the lamp downstairs, rubbing shoulders and looking up. They were all crowded and pressed against each other. There were a few wandering disciples inside, pointing and talking. One said, "It must be the family members who came from the prince's mansion." Another guessed, "It's the concubine of the noble family, who was here to see the lanterns. Otherwise, how will the family dress up?" Another one said, "Could it be the courtyard? Young and middle-aged ladies. It was the adults who asked me to come here to watch the lanterns and the music." Another one came over and said, "I am the only one who recognizes them. You can't guess. These 2 women are not from Zhao Kei's family. They are King Yama. His wife is the concubine of General Wu Dao. She is a woman who runs a herbal medicine shop in front of our county and pays off official debts to high-ranking officials in Ximen. Why did you mess with him? I must have come here with his aunts to watch the lanterns. This woman is wearing green and gold everywhere. Yes, I don't recognize it. The one wearing bright red and gold-covered armor with a green-faced flower on it. Looks like Wu Daling's wife who sells cooking cakes." Daling was kicked to death by a high-ranking official because he caught an adulterer in Wang Post house. He married her as a concubine at home. The next time his brother-in-law Wu Song complained, he mistakenly killed Li Weijuan and was sent to the army by a high official. Now he has not been seen for a year or two, and he is so beautiful. Just as she was talking, Wu Yunyang saw that there were many people around downstairs, so she asked Jinlian and Yulo to sit down. Listening to the two fans playing and singing lantern lyrics, and drinking. After sitting for a while, Yunyang got up and said, "We've had enough wine. Erniang and I will go ahead and leave his two sisters to sit for a while, to express our love for Erniang. His father is not at home today. I'm not worried about leaving some girls alone when there is no one." Li Ping'er was willing to let go and said, "Good lady, it's okay for a slave to fail to do his best. Today is the festival, and the lights are not lit and there is no food. Come on, we need to go home. Even if Father Simon is not at home, there are still his girls. What are you afraid of? When the moonlight comes up, I will send the four mothers away." Yunyang said, "Second mother, that's not what you said. I don't drink much, so he and his two sisters are just like me." Li Ping'er said, "My aunt doesn't need it, and my second mother won't eat for a minute. It doesn't make sense. I think I was at my aunt's house the day before yesterday. I kept waiting for a while, but all the ladies refused to spare me. Today, I came to this narrow place. Although I don't have much to offer, I would like to give you a little effort." Then he handed the big silver bell to Li Jiar, said, "Second mother, please have a cup." "Madam, I don't dare to serve you a big cup, only a small cup." Then he poured it out and handed it to Yunyang. The two singers, Yunyang, each gave him 2 coins. After Li Jiar had finished drinking, Yunyang got up and told Yulu and Jinlian, "I'll go first, and I'll ask the boy to bring a lantern to pick you up, so I'll just come, there's no one at home." Yulu promised. Li Ping'er sent Yunyang and Li Jiar to the front door and boarded the sedan. "Go back upstairs and have a drink with Yulu and Jinlian. Look at the night, lights are lit upstairs, and the two singers are playing and drinking." But he said that on that day, Simon King, the two elders, Earl Ying and Zishi, had dinner at home and went to the lantern market together. When they arrived at the east entrance of Lion Street, Simon King stopped going to the west street to look at the big lanterns. Because Yunyang and the others were having a drink at Li Ping'er's house, they were afraid that they would see them, and only went back to the gauze lantern cellar. I didn't want to turn around and bumped into Sun Zizui and Zhu Xinian. They sang and said, "I haven't seen you for days, brother, and I'm longing for you." When they saw Earl Ying and Zishi, they cursed, "You two damn good people. When you came to play with me, why don't you call me?" Simon King said, "Brother Zhu, you wrongly blamed the two of them. We met on the road just now." Jushi thought, "Where are you going now after seeing the lantern?" Simon King said, "I went to the big restaurant to have 3 drinks with all the brothers. Didn't I also invite the brothers to their homes? Today, all the servants went to other people's houses to have a drink." Zhu Xinian said, "It's better than inviting me to my brother's house. Every time I go to a restaurant, why don't I go inside and look at Sister Li Gui? I just want to say New Year's greetings during the holiday and hang out with him." The two of us were at his house the day before yesterday, and he looked at us so hard that he couldn't cry. He said he didn't come from Lolly. It's so good that the officials don't go in to see him in the shadow. I have no time today, so we would rather go in with him for a walk. Simon King remembered that Li Ping'er had an appointment that evening, so he declined and said, "Today I still have some small things to do, so I'll go tomorrow." How could I not stop this group of people from dragging him to death? So we went into the courtyard together. Exactly, that flowers at the bottom of the willow suppress the dust on the road, and you will enjoy new things every time you travel. I don't know how many households in the world will be purified by all the smiles in Chang'an. When Simon King and others arrived at Li's house, Gui King was standing at the front of the door dressed up, welcoming him into the middle hall to meet him. Zhu Xinian shouted, "Please come out quickly. Thanks to all of us. The high-ranking official invited today is here." After a while, the old Jin woman came out with her crutches, met Simon King and said, "I have never neglected my brother-in-law, so why haven't I come in to see my sister? I must have found a new cousin elsewhere." Zhu Xinian interjected, "You old man can guess. I have been seeing a beautiful lady recently." "Cousin, I only walk there every day. and I don't miss your sister Gui. We just bumped into each other in the lantern market and asked him to come, but he still hasn't come. Mom doesn't believe it. Just ask Sun Box you. Because he pointed at Earl Ying and Zida said, these two damned ones are the same gods as him. After hearing this, the old Jin woman laughed and said, well, second brother Ying. My family is not annoying you. Why don't you brother-in-law? A kind word in front of me. Although my brother-in-law has a lot of hair, as the saying goes, a good boy will not be a prostitute, and everyone in the world has the same eye for money. I am not boasting that my sister Gui is not ugly either, and my brother-in-law has his own eyesight. Today there's no need for anyone to tell me. Sun Zizui said, I'm telling you the truth, the cousin I'm talking about now is not from the inside, but from the outside. After hearing this, Simon King drove Sun Zizui to just fight. Said, Mom, don't listen to this old glib and old killer of natural and man-made disasters. Sun Zizui and everyone laughed together. Simon King took out 3 taels of silver from his sleeve and handed it to Gui King. I'm inviting friends during the festival. Gui King refused to accept it and handed it to his mother. Mom said, what's the matter? My brother-in-law is laughing at my family. He can't bring out food and wine to treat you dads during the big festival. He also taught his brother-in-law to corrupt banknotes and take out silver. It's obvious that people in our courtyard just love money. Earl Ying came over and said, Mom, if you accept it, please arrange wine for us to eat. The Qianpo said, this is not possible in theory. She declined and took the money. He took off his sleeves, said a deep blessing, and said, thank you brother-in-law for your charity. Earl Ying said, Mom, please stay here. I tell you a joke. A young man went whoring to a young lady in the courtyard. That day he pretended to be a poor man and went in. His mother saw that his clothes were in tatters and ignored him. He sat there for a long time and didn't bring out the tea. The younger brother said, Mom, I'm hungry. I want to find some food to eat. The mother said, we have hoarded rice to dry, so why are we here to beg for food? The boy asked again, we have no food, but if you have some water, bring some water and I will wash my face. The mother said, you have to pay less to carry water. No water has been delivered for several days. The disciple took out 10 taels of silver from his sleeve, put it on the table, and ordered him to buy rice and water. The panicked mother had no words to say. My brother-in-law has eaten and washed his face. And after washing his face, he will eat his face. Everyone was shocked. Laughed. Qianpo said, you are still so quick to make fun of Kir. Since ancient times, you have always said that it is not a problem. Earl Ying said, bring me your ears and I will tell you. The high official recently invited the second brother Hua, cousin Wu Yin'er from the back alley. I don't want your sister Gui. Qianpo laughed and said, I don't believe it. My sister Gui is not strong-willed today. She is even better than Wu Yin'er. My family and my brother-in-law are cut with sharp knives. A relative. What kind of person is my brother-in-law? He sees a lot with his eyes, and he can estimate the fineness of gold even in tight spots. After saying that, he went in to put away the food and drinks. After a while, Sister Li Gui came out. She was carrying a silk hairpin, a gold silk hairpin, an emerald plum flower, a bead hoop, and a gold cage pendant. She was wearing a white silk double-breasted coat, a red skirt, and pink makeup. Yuzhuo looked down and said Wanfu, and sat down side by side with Gisheng. After a while, tea was brewed. Gisheng and Sister Gui each handed a cup and they finished eating together. Bauer came to mop the spring platform and was just about to clear up and put the wine on the table. Suddenly he saw a few people wearing ragged clothes outside the curtain and kneeling down, holding 3 or 4 in their hands. Sheng Guazier, during the festival, be filial to your eldest father. Simon King only recognized the first one named Yu Chun'er and asked, who of you are here? Yu Chun said, there are also Duan Miansha and King Nai. You, wait outside. Duan Miansha came in, Sir Earl Ying inside, and said, Father Ying is here too. She kowtowed quickly. Simon King ordered him to collect his melon seeds, opened his silver bag, pinched a tael of silver and plundered it on the ground. Yu Cheddar took it, kowtowed to the ground with everyone, and said, "Thank you, Dad, for the reward," and ran out. There is a single channel Jirexing Zhang of Kaoshianzi. One family makes peace, another family makes peace. He has few abilities and a big head. Some of his children accidentally move around and wander around the courtyard. How about at the table and chat with your teeth? The gang broke up after a fight, and they didn't make much money. What's wrong with you? He begs for saliva in the tiger's mouth. Simon King dismissed the fight and went out, ranging for wine to be served. Sister Gui's cup is full of gold. Her red sleeves hang down. She cooks exotic dishes. She offers fresh fruits. She leans against the green and red, and the flowers are rich and the wine is gorgeous. After drinking for 2 rounds, Gixing and Sister Gui played a zither and a pipa, and they sang a set of Jijing harmony. While singing in a lively place, I saw 3 people wearing green clothes and yellow whips, called yuanj, holding a roast goose and 2 bottles of old wine in their hands. Half kneeling, Simon Kingping used to recognize one as Babelzi, one as Xiao Jiangshan, and the other as Luo Huizi, because he said, "You guys wait outside, and when we have finished drinking, we'll kick him and run away." Then he picked them up on the table. I bought 4 plates of rice, a large pot of wine, and a plate of snacks, and sent them to eat and collect themselves to serve. Simon King had a drink, came out to the yard, and kicked him away first. The next time I taught Sister Gui to come up and play with 2 round clubs. One is shaking his head, the other is confronting. Obstacles, kicking, turning and beating, all of them are cheering and flattering. There are some things that are not everywhere, but they are all taken away soon. Instead, he went to Simon King to ask for the reward, saying, "Sister Gui's outfit is one of the best. Dozens of times better than Dongguan's daughter in Urshao Lane." At that moment, Sister Gui kicked her twice and ran down, making her eyebrows full of dust and sweating. Wet cheeks, panting, and tired waist and limbs. He took out a spring fan from his sleeve and shook it, joined hands with Simon King, and watched Gui King kicking round with Zizaida and Zhang Shaoxian. White Bold Man and Luo Huizi were standing by, picking up their hair from time to time. There is also the word Chao Chanzi, which expresses the beginning and end of the surrounding. Heis also free at home, scraping saliva everywhere, not doing any physical work, and is always with his son when he is angry, standing on the street every day. The poor don't like it, but they envy the rich. From morning till night, there is not even a full meal. He couldn't transfer a lot of money, and his wife was often taken over by others. Simon King was watching everyone playing Shuanglu, kicking the ball, and drinking in the courtyard. He saw Diane coming to pick him up on horseback. He quietly whispered in his ear, "Auntie." Ernie went to her house. While Ernie asked the younger one to please Dad earlier, "Come over here." After Simon King heard this, he secretly called Diane, "Hang the horse by the back door and wait for me." So he didn't even eat wine, so he took Sister Gui into the room, sat there for a while, and then came out. He pushed and washed his hands, mounted his horse at the back door, and walked away in a hurry. Earl Ying asked Bauer to pull him away, but Simon King only said, "I have something to do at home." Will he be transferred there? Teach Denner to take 1, 2 or 5 coins and send them to 3 round societies. The Li family was afraid that he would go to Wu Yinera's house in the back alley again, and asked the maid to follow him to the front of the courtyard gate before returning. Earl Ying and others did not leave until the second watch. Exactly, hellas and scolds, and he entertains me and entertains me.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.